You are living your routine, maybe driving to work, listening to a random song on the radio, perhaps walking down a familiar street, observing the people around. Everything seems normal, but suddenly, for no apparent reason, something inside you changes. A strange feeling, as if someone was nearby, as if a silent presence touched your soul, even without anyone by your side. Your heart races without explanation. You look around, expecting to see a familiar face, but there is no one. Just the same street, the same people, the same ordinary moment as always. Still, that feeling remains, as if something or someone was already connected to you, even if it was invisible to the eye. Maybe you've felt this before. In that vivid dream where a stranger seemed so close that when you woke up, you swore you knew him. Or that moment when, for no reason, your chest filled with longing for someone you can't remember. What if this isn't just imagination? What if, on some level, your soul already knows something that your mind doesn't yet understand? What if the love of your life is already connected to you, just waiting for the right moment to reveal herself? Stay with me until the end of this video, because you're about to discover that this connection is no fluke, and that there are clear signs that this meeting may be closer than you think. Before the bodies meet, the souls can already be linked. This connection happens in the spiritual field, where the laws of time and space do not work in the same way as they do here. In the physical world, we believe that love only arises when we meet someone, when we exchange glances, when there is direct contact. But in the spiritual dimension, the energy of two souls can unite long before the first meeting takes place. In the Bible, there is a verse that brings this idea of a prior connection between two people destined to meet. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you came out of the womb, I sanctified you. Jeremiah 1:5. If God knows us before we are even born, doesn't He also connect us to those who will be part of our journey? This spiritual connection can occur in several ways. Some souls already have a bond with other existences, meeting again at different times to fulfill greater purposes. Others connect through promises and alliances made before they were born. This explains why some people feel, even without a logical explanation, that they already belong to someone they don't yet know. It's as if their hearts are already intertwined on a plane that the eyes cannot see. Often, this connection manifests itself through intense, vivid dreams where you encounter someone unfamiliar but who, in some way, seems incredibly familiar. You feel real emotions in that dreamlike encounter, and when you wake up, you carry with you a memory that you cannot ignore. It could be a touch, a look, a conversation, something that feels like more than just a dream. This happens because, on the spiritual plane, souls can interact before meeting physically. In addition to dreams, there are also daily signs that suggest this connection. You may feel a different energy in certain places, as if you have already been there with someone special. You may start to notice strange patterns, such as repeatedly seeing a name, a date, or even smelling perfumes in the air without explanation. The universe works in mysterious ways to prepare you for this encounter. But if this connection already exists, why have some people still not found someone who is spiritually connected to them? Are we always destined for this reunion, or is there something we need to do to allow it to happen? We are not always destined for an immediate reunion. The bond between two souls can exist, but for it to manifest itself on the physical plane, both souls must be prepared. What you feel, this silent presence, this feeling that someone is already part of your life without you knowing it, is not only a sign that this connection exists, but also a call to your own awakening. Suddenly, you may have already experienced a situation like this. You're walking down the street, and for a brief moment you feel like you need to look behind you. Your heart races, as if you're about to meet someone you've always been waiting for. But when you look, there is no one familiar. Or perhaps, during a conversation with friends, someone mentions a name that doesn't mean anything to others, but that makes something inside you vibrate, as if there was a memory lying dormant there. And there are also those dreams that seem more real than reality itself. Dreams about someone you've never seen before, but that, when you wake up, leave a feeling of closeness, as if a part of you already knew that person. This happens because when two souls share a deep bond, they begin to call each other energetically before they even meet physically. This invisible communication manifests itself in different ways: a sudden intuition, a feeling of longing for something you haven't experienced, an inexplicable shiver when listening to a certain song. The universe acts in subtle ways, sending signs that this connection is already happening, even if you are not yet fully aware of it. But if this connection already exists, why are some people able to find their soul connected and others not? The answer lies in the balance between waiting and acting, between trusting and allowing. It's not enough to just feel this presence. You need to be prepared to receive it. The biggest mistake many people make is turning this connection into an obsession, waiting for the other person without fully living in the present. The truth is that this encounter can only happen when you are aligned with who you really are. But how do you know if this connection is real or if it is just a projection of your desire? How to differentiate a true spiritual connection from an illusion created by attachment? The answer lies in the signs that the universe sends. The signs that this connection is real are in your own experience. When two souls are linked, they share energy, even at a distance. This means that thoughts, emotions, and even physical sensations can be transmitted between them without there being any direct contact. Have you ever noticed how sometimes a thought pops into your mind without explanation? Like you suddenly remember someone you've never met or feel an emotion that doesn't seem like you. It could be tightness in the chest, a sudden wave of happiness, or even inexplicable tiredness. Often this happens because the other person, on the other side of the connection, is feeling something strong, and in a subtle way, this energy reaches you. What about when you think intensely about love and on the same day you receive an unexpected sign? A song that plays at the exact moment, with lyrics that seem to respond to your feelings. A name that comes up repeatedly, whether in a movie, a book, or even in the conversation of a stranger next to you. Or maybe it's that dream that's so real that when you wake up, you feel like you've just experienced something that hasn't happened yet. Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever felt like the universe seemed to be trying to show you something? These are signs of synchronicity, small alignments that indicate that this connection already exists, waiting to manifest on the physical plane. But how can we differentiate a true spiritual calling from an illusion created by the mind? The answer lies in how this connection affects you. Not every spiritual connection means that love must be lived at any cost. There's a fine line between a real soul bond and an emotional obsession. When we feel this deep connection with someone, the desire to find that person can become so intense that we run the risk of turning a spiritual calling into an invisible prison. But how do you know when to insist and when to let go? Maybe you've already been through this. You feel a constant presence in your life. Notice the signs. Dream about someone you've never met, or think about a specific person for no apparent reason. Everything seems to point to this connection, but the days go by, the months go by, and nothing happens. The meeting doesn't come, the person doesn't show up, or when they do show up, they don't meet your expectations. What does this mean? We often confuse a real connection with a desire for control. We want the universe to bring us immediate answers. We want that person we feel so close to also feel the same at the same moment. But does this connection exist to be experienced now? Or is she here to teach us something before the physical meeting? The biggest sign that a connection is true and healthy is the peace it brings. When two souls are really ready to meet, everything flows. There is no anguish. There is no desperate waiting. There is no suffering. There is trust. If you feel like this connection generates more anxiety than harmony, perhaps it's an invitation to let go. To understand that true love doesn't need to be forced. But letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means trust. If this connection is real, she will find the right path. If it is just an illusion, time itself will dispel it. So what to do now? How can we allow this connection to manifest naturally, without anxiety, without fear, without doubts? If two souls are linked, why do some never meet? Why do some connections seem so strong on the spiritual plane but never come to fruition in reality? The answer lies in the energy that each person emits. Love is not just a chance encounter, it is an alignment. And for that connection to become real, you need to be ready to receive it. But how to prepare? How can you allow this connection to emerge from the invisible and become part of your life? It all starts within you. The universe does not bring two people together when one of them is still loaded with fears, insecurities, or expectations based on lack. If you want to experience this connection in the real world, you first need to become the person who is ready for it. This means working your energy, healing your blockages, and making space for love without resistance. Maybe you've noticed that the more you chase something, the more it seems to escape you. This happens because the energy of excessive desire can become a blockage. When you are constantly waiting, analyzing signals, seeking answers, your vibration becomes a vibration of lack, and the universe responds exactly to what you emit. If you feel scarcity, it reflects scarcity. If you feel confidence, it reflects abundance. So what can you do to allow this meeting to happen? First, turn to yourself. Ask yourself, am I the person I want to meet? Am I living fully and truthfully, or am I just waiting for someone to complete me? The more aligned you are with yourself, the easier it will be to recognize the person who is already connected to you. Second, let go of the need for control. True love does not come when we are anxious, but when we are at peace. Let this connection reveal itself in due time. Trust that if it is meant to happen, it will happen in the most natural and magical way possible. And finally, pay attention to the signs but don't depend on them. The universe talks to you all the time, but your biggest confirmation will always be your own intuition. When the time is right, you will know. So breathe, alive. Be the best version of yourself. If this soul is destined to cross your path, nothing can stop this meeting. And when that happens, you'll understand why everything needed to happen exactly the way it did. What if everything you're looking for is already coming your way? What if right now the love of your life is also feeling your presence without understanding where this connection comes from? Life has a rhythm that we cannot rush. The time of the universe is not the time of our desire. But there is something magical about it. Because when a meeting needs to happen, it happens. Not a second before, not a second later. Just at the exact moment you are both ready. Maybe you've already asked yourself why you feel this connection so strongly. Why are there moments when your heart sinks without explanation, as if something is about to happen but it never does? Maybe you've felt this energy in places you've never visited, in music that seems to speak directly to you, in dreams that are so real that when you wake up, you feel the absence of someone who was never by your side. But what if, instead of asking yourself when that person will arrive, you changed the question? What if the true purpose of this connection is not just the meeting, but rather what you become while you wait? Because the love you want isn't just a destination, it's a path that requires dedication, trust, and above all, patience. not the patience of those who wait still, but the patience of those who live, those who transform, those who trust that everything will arrive exactly when it needs to arrive. And while that moment doesn't come, you have two choices: lose yourself in anxiety or find yourself in yourself. You can spend your days looking for signs, or you can become the sign yourself. You can look outside, or you can create a space within yourself where that love can flourish when it finally arrives. Because in the end, true love is not about finding someone. It's about recognizing yourself in others. And this only happens when you already recognize yourself. So stop wondering when this person will show up. Instead, ask yourself, when will I truly be ready for this encounter? When you are, love will not need to be sought. It will simply arrive. Love is not a mystery to be deciphered, nor an enigma to be solved. It is a flow, a force that moves towards the right moment, the right meeting, the right person. If this connection already exists, if your soul already recognizes someone even before the first look, then there is nothing you need to force. What is true is never lost. What belongs to your destiny will always find a way to get to you. Your only mission is not to chase, not to try to control time, not to question every sign and every emotion. Your only mission is to become who you were born to be. Because the love that is truly worth it does not come to fill voids, but to overflow. It doesn't come when you expect it, but when you've learned to be whole on your own. So, breathe, alive, trust. If that soul is already connected to you, the universe will find a way to bring you together. And when that meeting happens, you will understand that there was never waiting, there was only preparation.